Deandra. I spent way too long yakking with Tanisha over lunch. She couldn't stop talking about Pedro Pietri, the poet Mr. Ward had invited to our class. He was coming in a couple of weeks, and Tanisha said he was going to rock the house. He was the only poet Mr. Ward had us read who we were actually going to meet, which was pretty cool. Tanisha could hardly wait to check him out. I had other things on my mind, though, so I was glad Tyrone came over and broke up the conversation. He started hitting on Tanisha as usual. I whispered, sorry, and took off. 10 more minutes and Mr. Ward will be in here. I flipped my sketchbook open to a fresh page, clip my father's photo to the corner, and get busy. A few strokes of my pencil and the oval of his face is done. Then I start with his chin. I don't know why. Maybe because the hardness is there and I want to get it out of the way. Hurry on to the softer parts of his face, the parts that show love. I've never done a portrait from the bottom to the top before, but why not? As long as it looks like my father when I'm done. The first bell rings. I lift my head and there's Sterling staring over my shoulder. Hey, hey. I lean back so he can get a better look. I just started this one, I tell him. Other kids file in, so I gather up my charcoal pencils. Raoul swirls his brushes in a jar of water and finishes straightening up Mr. Ward's desk. I catch his eye and we smile at each other. He's part of the reason I don't mind people looking at my drawings anymore. I guess I should give Tanisha some credit too. It was her bright idea to have me do those book report covers. The day we got our reports back, Mr. Ward held mine up so everyone could see the cover. I tried evaporating on the spot, I swear. The last thing I wanted was the extra attention. Too late. When class was over, I ran out of the room before anyone had a chance to laugh in my face, but Raoul caught me in the hall and snatched the report from me quicker than a subway door slamming shut. He said he wanted to get a better look at it. I bit my tongue and stared at the floor. This is good, he said, especially the eyes. They look right through you. You got to show me how to do the eyes. My jaw dropped. You think they're that good? You're kidding, right? Raoul didn't wait for an answer. He handed me back the report, shaking his head. Wish I could do eyes like that. Anyway, see you later. I looked down at my book cover as if I was seeing it for the first time. Raoul was right. The drawing was good. The eyes did look right through you. Maybe I should try working on the rest of the face, I thought. I could do studies of mouths and noses and chins. I could try different kinds of faces, different shapes. I could get Mom to model for me, or Tanisha, or I could use pictures. We only have a bazillion photo albums around my house. Maybe I could bring one of them to school with me. Or I could just borrow a few of the pictures and then put them back later. Maybe. I had a hard time concentrating on my classes that afternoon. The next day, I wolfed down my lunch and half ran to Mr. Ward's room with a sketch pad and charcoal pencils. By the time Raoul arrived, I was already at work. Nowadays, I'm in here 2-3 times a week. I'd come more often, but I got to make time for my friends. I shaded my father's jawline just as Mr. Ward enters the room, then put my pencil down and look up in case he tries to catch my eye. Mr. Ramirez, says Mr. Ward, may I have my desk, please? Raoul bows deep, like some actor in an old-time movie. Then he struts to his seat. He passes me on the way, leans down, eyes my rough sketch, and whispers, let me know when you get to the eyes. My smile is so wide, my cheeks hurt. High Drive by Deandra Jordan. A trip to the city pool ain't what it used to be. I left the kiddie pool behind many moons ago. I know how to float, how to dog paddle, how to hold my breath between breaststrokes. I know the stench and sting of chlorine. It's no big thing, but this, scaling the ladder for the high dive, drives me to distraction. What if I forget to swim? What if there's no water in the pool? But wait, is it really water I'm after? I reach the top, pad to the edge of the board, and peek. There it is, swirls of blue, purple, and periwinkle watercolor. The perfect palette. I take a deep breath, dip the tip of my brush into the sky, take one long leap, and to be continued. Tyrone. I've been thinking we should plan on having a poetry slam next year. I ran the idea past Deandra. She's one of the shyest sisters in our class. At least she was when school got started. Anyway, I figured if she's into the idea, everybody else should be down with it. Next thing I need to do is pitch it to Mr. Ward, see if he can get the principal to go for it. Man, I would love to get in some guys from Bronx Science or one of them other special schools and turn them into toast at a poetry slam. There's no way they'd beat us. They wouldn't even know what hit them. Amy Moskowitz. The name is petite like me. It's also soft. I'm not. Just ask Tyrone, or Deandra, or Sterling. Better yet, ask my father. He thinks I'm so tough, I don't need anybody, not even him. He didn't always treat me that way. He used to handle me more like China. But then Mom left to start another family without us. After the divorce, Dad decided we both needed to toughen up, that we needed to learn to stand on our own. I thought he meant together. 2 years ago, I got sick at school, and he was called in to take me to the hospital. Apparently, I had appendicitis. I was doubled over with pain, tears streaming down my face, and he wouldn't even put his arm around me. He just walked beside me, stiff as a 2x4, asking, "Are you okay?" every couple minutes. Jerk. Would it have killed him to touch me? To help me up to the hospital stairs? Never mind. I won't bother needing anyone like that again. Too bad my father's not like Mr. Ward. His daughter goes to this school, and I saw the two of them in the cafeteria the other day. I hear they have lunch together 3 times a week. Anyhow, there they were in lunch line, him with his arm draped over her shoulder, the two of them blabbing away like old buddies. She was bent over a little from the weight of her backpack, I guess, and when he noticed, he slipped it off and carried it for her. She smiled up at him and gave his waist a squeeze, and I felt my stomach turn. For about a minute, I hated that girl. Sterling says jealousy is a waste of energy, that I should focus on what I have, not what I don't. That's what I get for opening my big mouth and telling him how I feel. But he's so easy to talk to, sometimes I let things slip before I even realize my mouth is open. Anyway, he's too busy trying to save my Jewish soul to think about betraying my secrets. He knows I'd never forgive him, and then where would he be? He could pretty much forget about preaching love and forgiveness around me after that. Not that all his preaching will get him anywhere, seeing as I'm an atheist. Still, this trying doesn't bother me. He's so upfront about it. He's right about the jealousy, though. I seem to be jealous of everyone and everything, especially the friendships I see all around me. Leslie and Portia, Lupe and Gloria, Tanisha and Deandra. It's enough to make me ill. It's been forever since I had a best friend, let alone a boyfriend. Friendships don't just happen. Sterling tells me whenever I complain. You have to reach out and make them. How? I ask him. Just be yourself. Myself? That's a laugh. If I were to show anyone who I really am inside, how cold my heart is, they'd probably run into the opposite direction. I tell Sterling this, and he says, maybe, maybe not. You won't know unless you try. Sterling's right. I haven't been trying. Not since my parents' divorce. I've been afraid to get close to anyone. When my mom left, I was suddenly out of orbit. It's like she was the sun, and when she took off, the only thing left was a big black hole where she used to be. Now the idea of letting somebody else get that close, I don't know. I'm just not ready. I wonder if I will ever be. Ode to Stone by Amy Moskowitz. One day at Far Rockaway is all it took. One look at rocks and water decided me. I want to be stone. I want to be marble. Dressed up limestone never looked so good. Let me be granite and promise I'll show you how to take a shellacking. Yes, I'll risk sunburn. Just let me be rock wedged into the earth or sea, tidal waves crashing over me while I remain intact. No split at the core, more buff than bruised. Forget the pillar of salt. I'll look back at the count of 3, and you can turn me into stone. Go on. I'm half rock already. Tyrone. Man, that girl is as cold as the snow on the ground. Somebody must have put a hurting on her. I want to be stone. Can you get next to that? I've felt that way a couple of times. Once when the undertaker carried my pops out of here. Another time when my girlfriend left me for my supposed to be homie. Both times I remember wishing I couldn't feel the hurt, wishing I could just cut my heart out and be done with it. But I like the way Amy said it, let me be stone.